Hey there, sci-fi lovers. Welcome to our channel, where the universe unfolds and the impossible becomes real. If you're as passionate about the unknown as we are, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us create more mind-bending adventures just for you.
Have I ever told you why you should never ignore it when a human says oops? You might think that the word oops is harmless, just a casual sign that something minor has gone wrong. But let me tell you, when a human says oops, it's like hearing the first note of a disaster symphony. It's not just a simple mistake, it's a warning that things are about to get out of control in ways you can't even begin to predict. I've spent years traveling the stars, working alongside all sorts of beings, but nothing compares to the chaos that follows when a human casually drops an oops. It's as if the universe itself pauses, waiting to see just how spectacularly things are about to go wrong. Sometimes, it's just a small glitch, easily fixed. But more often than not, you're about to witness something so unbelievable that you'll be left questioning reality itself. Let me give you an example from my time aboard the ISS Orion. We were in the middle of a routine maintenance check on our AI core, a sophisticated piece of technology that controls almost every function of the ship. Our human technician, Kelly, was overseeing the process. Now, Kelly had a reputation for being brilliant but unpredictable, traits that often seem to go hand in hand with humans. Everything was going smoothly until I heard her mutter oops under her breath. I knew better than to ignore it, but before I could even ask what was wrong, the ship's AI began acting erratically. The lights flickered, systems started shutting down one by one, and then, as if things weren't bad enough, the AI started singing. Yes, singing. Old Earth lullabies echoed through the corridors, a haunting melody juxtaposed against the chaos. And then the countdown to self-destruct began. While the rest of the crew was in a frenzy, Kelly calmly yanked out a power module and jammed a different one into the core, a move that should have shorted out the entire system. But instead, the AI rebooted, apologized for the inconvenience, and returned everything to normal. I was too stunned to even reprimand her. Kelly just shrugged, flashed a grin, and said, "Oops, looks like I might have overclocked it a bit." Another time, we were transporting highly volatile fuel cells across the Perseus arm. These weren't just any fuel cells, they were experimental, with enough energy to vaporize half a planet if mishandled. The trip was supposed to be straightforward, until Jenkins, our cargo specialist, decided to tweak the containment field. Jenkins was a tinkerer, always pushing the limits of what was possible. I didn't even know he was making adjustments until I heard the dreaded oops over the comms. Panic set in as the containment field began to destabilize. A high-pitched whine filled the cargo bay, growing louder and more ominous by the second. Just as I was about to order an emergency jettison, Jenkins performed some kind of miracle. He grabbed a multi-tool, hacked into the emitter, and rerouted the excess energy through the ship's external radiators. The ship glowed like a small star for a moment, nearly blinding us all, but it worked. The field stabilized, and the cells were secure. Jenkins, on the other hand, wasn't as lucky. He took a hefty dose of radiation in the process, but instead of complaining, he laughed it off. His only comment? "Oops, didn't think it'd get that hot." He ended up in the med bay for a week, but when he came out, he had a new set of cybernetic limbs to replace the ones he'd burned up in the process. And he still called it a success. Then there was the time we were charting a particularly dense asteroid field. Davis, our pilot, was trying out a new thruster configuration, a little side project he'd been working on during our downtime. I was monitoring the navigation when I heard the inevitable oops come through the speakers. I barely had time to react before Davis yanked the controls and sent us barreling toward the largest asteroid in the field. I was certain we were about to become a smear of space debris, but Davis had something else in mind. He executed a series of maneuvers that defied every law of physics I'd ever studied. We grazed the asteroid's surface, leaving behind a trail of superheated rock and sparks, before he spun the ship into a tight roll and shot us clear of the field. The asteroid didn't fare so well. It cracked and fragmented, scattering smaller rocks in all directions. It was a sight to behold, but I wouldn't recommend it as a standard navigation tactic. When the comms went quiet, and I finally caught my breath, Davis casually remarked, "Oops, guess I need to recalibrate those thrusters." I didn't know whether to commend his flying or revoke his pilot's license on the spot. I could tell you more stories, like the time a human scientist accidentally created a miniature black hole in the lab and had to wrestle it into containment before it swallowed the entire station, or the time a human engineer modified our ship's shields to reflect energy weapons, only to realize too late that it also amplified the blast tenfold. But I think you get the idea. The lesson here is simple: when a human says oops, don't assume it's just a minor mistake. It's a signal that things are about to get very interesting, very quickly. And while that can be terrifying, it's also the reason I always make sure to have a few humans on my crew. They might be unpredictable, but when the galaxy throws you into the deep end, there's no one better to have by your side.
Thank you so much for joining us on this cosmic journey. If you enjoyed the ride, please hit that subscribe button and share the adventure with others. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more incredible stories. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the stars.